Yo, what is up guys? Delboy here, aka Blue Collar Sports TV. Hopefully you guys are doing well. If you're new here, smash that like, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff. So some interesting news coming out of the heavyweight division. Joyce has come out and basically said that the Oleksandr Usyk fight is extremely likely. And according to Joyce, it could go down in April. Joyce told BT Sports the following: "It's looking like April. Negotiations seem to be going well. Looks like the fight is lining up nicely and is almost confirmed." Those are the words of Joyce. And, I take those words relatively seriously. Joyce, to me, never really comes across as a clout chaser. He's not really the guy who talks for talking's sake, if that makes sense. So I take these words relatively seriously. And I have to admit, I would love to see this fight happen. I'm assuming if it does happen, it will be for the WBO interim title, because obviously it's looking likely that Tyson Fury versus Joshua, the full WBO title will be on the line. So yeah, it's looking like Joyce and Oleksandr Usyk are fighting for the right to fight the winner of Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, or the belt if it becomes vacant. Maybe the winner of this fight actually gets elevated to full champion if that belt becomes vacant, because, if you're an interim champion, the belt becomes vacant. Usually, you get elevated to full champion. But all in all, I love the idea of this fight. Of course, they fought way back in the World Series of Boxing quite a few years ago. Way back then, Joyce got basically schooled by Oleksandr Usyk. But both guys since then have developed into much better fighters. We all know about Oleksandr Usyk, great cruiserweight champion, undisputed. Now he's campaigning at heavyweight. Joyce has developed into a really, really good heavyweight contender. Physically daunting, versatile. I think if you put these two guys in the ring right now, it's going to make for a really interesting fight. I would be intrigued to see how Joyce approaches this fight, whether he tries to utilise his height and reach, or whether he goes to his pressure style and he tries to basically dog walk Oleksandr Usyk. I'll be intrigued to see how Joyce approaches this one. Obviously against Dubois, he was much more circumspect behind the jab. He was working off that punch and really didn't have to do much else. Whereas in other fights, he was pure pressure, pure aggression, and he would basically walk his man down, beat them up, and stop them. It'll be interesting from a Joyce perspective to see how he approaches this fight. I personally would believe he would apply the pressure style, and it will be interesting to see how Oleksandr Usyk deals with that style. Joyce tried that style first time around back in the World Series of Boxing years ago, and it really didn't work out for him. However, since then he's improved as a fighter, both technically and physically. And yeah, right now I think these two guys match up for a really intriguing heavyweight fight. Obviously the fight we're all talking about right now is Joshua versus Fury, and rightly so. But this really is a great fight. I hope this fight happens. I've learned not to underestimate Joyce. He's extremely dangerous. He's a big lump, great gas tank, very good chin, respectable power. He's versatile. He will be a really hard fight for Oleksandr Usyk. And as we know, Oleksandr Usyk, brilliant fighter, pound for pound level talents, excellent boxer, got all of the tricks in the book. It's going to be a real good fight, this, if it happens. Hopefully it does happen. I'm all for this fight, just as a boxing fan, I'm sure Oleksandr Usyk legally could sit and wait on his Mando status and basically wait for the winner of Fury versus Joshua, or even just wait for the belt to become vacant. But, Oleksandr Usyk being Oleksandr Usyk, I wouldn't be surprised that he took this sort of fight for an interim title. That's the type of guy Oleksandr Usyk is. He's not going to sit on his laurels and wait around, waste his career. He's going to pursue the big fights. And if he takes this fight, I commend him, because like I said, legally, I'm sure he can wait on his shot and basically just wait for the winner of Fury versus Joshua, or for the belt to become vacant. So credit to Oleksandr Usyk if this fight does go down. And interesting fight if this one does happen, I have to say. I'm hoping it does. I think it's a good style clash. I think there's a lot of variables to consider. And ultimately, these guys are two top heavyweights, in my opinion. So, listen, when these guys fight each other, I'm happy. Fingers crossed this fight does happen. I believe Joe Joyce is being sincere. I do believe there is something behind his words. Like I said, he's not a guy who talks for the sake of talking, Joe Joyce. He is what he is, And yeah, hopefully it happens. Share your thoughts below. Beanie Guy Del Boy. Peace.